Wow. This is cool. This is really cool.
Sales support local businesses and puts your money to work in your local community, helping small businesses compete.
Small Business Saturday is the only day that customer counts in stores is going to be equal to what's spent online.
That's CBS's Michael Toscano with that report. In anticipation of a major snowstorm in western New York, the Buffalo Bills are asking their die-hard fans to register as snow shovelers ahead of tomorrow night's game against the San Francisco 49ers.
That's funny.
You do what you have to do, says Bills head coach Sean McDermott.
Yeah, that's real nice. I don't want y'all to see the game, but you can help us keep the snow off the sidewalks. Did you hear that?
Yeah,
Buffalo.
I just did.
Okay, so you're going to pay a ton of money to go see a football game, but yet you got to help them keep the sidewalk.
How about everybody who does that gets a $15 discount on their tickets?
Try to get about a 10 free beers on the house, and all they eat you can eat.
That's funny.
Three Palestinians were crushed to death while in line outside a bakery in central Gaza. CBS's Jeff McConnell reports from Jerusalem.
On Friday, starving people thronged outside one of the few operational bakeries.
Did you come up with a view?
Children were crushed to death by the desperate crowd. They had nothing to eat for 4 days, a grieving relative cried. Bread is often the only food Palestinians can access, and even that, the World Food Program says, is slipping out of reach.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau met with President-elect Donald Trump yesterday at Mar-a-Lago to discuss Trump's plans to impose sweeping tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Tech policy expert Chris Lewis says he was just one of many prominent figures meeting with Trump these days.
I think they're engaging in smart politics. I think what the public should see is that
If anybody ever has any interest in historically correct films, movies, Bonhoeffer is incredible.
Bonhoeffer. I don't
I've seen billboards for it.
And if you want to see what not taking action, it's like not speaking up is speaking up. Not taking action is taking action.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That whole, if you want to see what not taking action, the telling of this story and the German Lutheran Church standing by and actually being complicit with Hitler is, if nothing else, anybody who sees that movie should be kind of.
It's a movie? Oh, I thought it was a show.
Anyone who sees that should be going, what is going on in our world today that is so similar to that?
I see an awful lot of
And who is not speaking out that should be speaking out? Yeah.
We're about a minute out.
It's like
Where did you see it?
Where are the Bonhoeffers and where are the Martin Luther Kings and where are the, you know, I don't, who is one? Who's a modern day Martin Luther King or a modern, who's somebody that has guts to say what needs to be said?
Well, there are a few. There's actually a historian named Heather Cox Richardson, writes a nightly letter from an American.
Oh, really?
And she ties history.
And it's not so one way or the other that it's just a rant. It's actually.
It's not a rant. It is an academic.
Send me a link or a text. Or
okay.
something.
Heather Cox Henderson.
Pardon? Heather Cox Richardson.
Richardson.
She's a history professor in, I want to say Vermont. And
What is it they say? If
here we go.
If you don't learn from the past.
Broadcasting live from the wondrous Tyler Media Studio D in Oklahoma City, it's McRoof Talks Insurance on KOKC AM 1520 FM 95.3. I'm Rick Allen Lippert here with restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCollum.
Hey, man. Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy leftovers day.
Yeah. Also here is HAAG-certified roofing inspector Scotty McCollum.
Hello, Rick.
Good morning to you.
Yes.
Running man
Good
Eric
morning.
Yandel is the wizard on the other side of the glass. Do you really?
Hey, how was the trot? Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a little blustery.
This was that was Thanksgiving morning, right?
Hey, Eric, come join us on a rooftop any December or January day. You're happy to join us. Oh.
Eric will be answering
Steep
your calls
places.
to 405-478-1520. We're live streaming today on the McRoof Talks Insurance YouTube channel. We're waving at you right now. You can also hear us anywhere in the US of A on iHeartRadio. Just search for KOKC. Act 1 of the show today will start as usual with our trivia question and other interesting tidbits, including the word of the week. That number again to answer the trivia question or to just ask a question, 405-478-1520. In Act 2, we'll hear Scotty's view from the rooftop. This week, the solutions team experiences a rush of customers filing insurance claims, and they're all in a hurry to get that roof ready. In an episode titled Procrastination is Plentiful.
Indeed it is. Rick.
Then in Act 3, we'll take more of your calls, plus we'll have some After the Storm tips brought to you by RoofRx, and we'll wrap up with Dad's Wisdom brought to you by Energy Q. And coming back from breaks, we'll have some genuinely obscure historical trivia. Now, I want you guys to know that the lawyer brought me a container of leftover mashed potatoes this morning. Nice guy. And in the bag was a note reminding me to say that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 8000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing.
No pie, Rick?
You know, I was surprised he had mashed potatoes left over. I did make an apple oatmeal crisp
Ooh.
for the first time. I followed a recipe, and it was a big hit.
Wow.
Took it to some
Sounds
friend's
good.
house and brought back barely a serving.
Wow, that's good. That's
Sounds
good.
very
yeah,
good.
it was.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah,
That's
it
awesome.
was actually really, really good.
So how'd
Okay,
the play go last night?
Oh, the play. Carpenter Square Theater opened the Games Afoot, or Homes for the Holiday, last night. Almost a sold-out house, and great performance, a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. It's a murder mystery farce, and it went very well. There's another performance tonight. Plenty of tickets available for tonight, and then 2 more weeks after this weekend, Thursday through Sunday. Thursday is half price, and then there's a Sunday matinee for the next 2 weekends after this one.
Cool.
Cool.
And so, the winner of our trivia question will get 2 free tickets to any Carpenter Square Theater production. So let's get to that
Okay.
trivia question.
Let's do it. So here's the trivia question. You know, we've been talking a lot about IBHS fortified roofs lately, trying to get people to think about building better roofs, building better structures. So here's the trivia question. Which of these is a requirement for an IBHS fortified roof designation? This is referencing how the deck is fastened. How is this fastened to your structure? A, with 8D nails at 6 inches on the edges and 12 inches on the rafters. 8D nails 4 inches along the edges and 6 inches center. 8D ring shank nails at 4 inches the edges and 6 inches on center. 8D ring shank nails at 4 inches on the edges and 4 inches on the centers. Okay.
I have to say, there's a lot of 4s and 6s, and my mind is just.
It's a lot of numbers
It's
to comprehend.
overburdened with the 4s and the 6s.
Well, and I gotta
And the 8s.
I gotta say this is there's a possibility that there's more than one correct answer to this.
Oh my goodness.
Because there is a little timing issue that we're bumping up against.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Okay.
Well,
Wow.
so basically what we're talking about is two different kinds of nails, the 8D or the ring shank.
That
Well, I guess-
fasten the deck, or the sheathing, the
Yeah.
substrate,
right.
the roof substrate, to the frame
To the
of
frame.
the house or
And
building.
so how are those nails
Yeah.
centered along the edges and along the
Yeah, so
rafters?
really, when I've given you 2 answers with common nails and 2 answers with ring shanks, so that might eliminate it down to about 50%. So
Yeah.
you guys figure it out.
Okay.
Oh, you smart guys.
If you think you know, if you want to just give a shot at it, give us a call, 405-478-1520. Let's get on to the word of the week.
Scotty, you doing that one? No,
I don't have the reference for
I
it.
guess you're not. Okay, well, the word of the week is traction. TRACTION. Traction refers to the measure of what? Measure of progress, measure of momentum in terms of gaining a certain movement into a marketplace. We're talking about trying to build traction with this whole concept of building better roofs and building better structures.
What about traction to stay up on a roof?
Yeah, the grip or adhesion between an object or a surface and another object or force applied to it in the context of the workplace safety. Traction plays a crucial role in preventing slips, trips, and falls, especially from extremely steep roofs. It doesn't say that. I added that in there. So, yeah, that's traction in terms of the workplace, okay? The grip or adhesion between an object or a surface and another object. I'm actually trying to build traction for building it better.
There you
so
go.
It's depending on how you're using the term, different meanings. Okay.
It's also in a medical term, like when you break a
there
leg
it
or an arm.
is,
Yeah,
and I have
put an arm or a leg in a sling of some kind.
I have that one right here.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I have that one right
I'm not
here.
sure I
It
know
says,
what y'all are talking about.
Well, you've seen somebody with like a
Being
severely
in
broken
traction.
leg, you know, in a cast with it raised up and it's suspended.
Uh-huh.
That is in traction.
What does it mean when
I
someone
see.
says they are in traction, the support or interest that it needed for something to make progress or succeed? Well, I thought that was going to be the medical definition. It's in here somewhere.
Pretty close,
but
yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Okay, so once again, our trivia question: which of the what are the distances for nailing and the deck to
frame.
to the frame of a roof
And the type of nails required.
for the type of nails? 8D or regular 8D or 8D ring shank, and what are the
Okay, so the choices are 8D nails on 6 and 12-inch center, 8D nails on 4 and 6 inch, 8D ring shank nails on 4 and 6 inch, or 8D ring shank on 4 and 4 inch. So what we're trying to do with fortified roof is we're trying to keep, number one, we're trying to keep your roof surface, the skin, what's pretty, what you're looking at. We're trying to keep that material on the roof, and there are a number of ways we accomplish that in the way that is applied. But more importantly than that, we're trying to keep essentially the deck on the roof.
Right.
Okay. The the deck on the roof, the wood sheathing, the plywood, the OSB, we want that to stay on there.
Right.
Because that deck in fortified is a sealed deck. And if the deck stays on and is properly sealed, okay, then we're going to keep the water out of your structure.
And that's ultimately the goal.
That the water is where then that totally changes the financial consequences of that loss and all the issues and problems that people are going to have to deal with. If you let the water enter the home, okay, then you're going to be dealing with having to move the people out to a
Right.
different place. You're going to have to deal with getting rid of the carpets, the upholsteries, the rugs, the furniture, and all that kind of stuff. You're going to have the potential for mold and all that really bad stuff to start happening inside the house. And so the dollar value of those claims just goes up
Geometrically.
Yeah, geometrically. Yeah.
Okay, so if you think you know what the magic numbers are, give us a call, 405-478-1520, 405-478-1520. All right, so we have about 4 minutes before we take a break. Wow. We had a short week thanks to the holiday.
Man, I tell you what, it may have been a short week, but that didn't mean that it was not a very, very busy and active week for us.
I'll bet.
It's action-packed.
Yeah, action-packed. So the guys were out. We had a lot of had several adjuster appointments. Had some things going on. We built a couple of roofs.
Really?
Yeah, we did. And remember, we've talked about cold weather installs, and we've talked about the fact that we can actually work at much lower temperatures with our modified SBS asphalt shingles now. So that's a little different thing that we can talk about. But primarily, we were focused on a bunch of repairs. Whole lot of repairs and getting a whole lot of things kind of punched out and cleaned up. Now, didn't really do my work any good. That what I had anticipated initially as less than a one-day repair turned into an all-week repair. But Scotty and the guys worked hard, and I think we got a lot done, didn't we, son?
Yeah, we did.
And we're going to hear more about that in the next act of the show with your view from the rooftop.
Yes. Well, I could have named my view a different name because I could have referenced a different project, and that repair, it kicked my butt.
Okay. All right. So the note here I got was can't win them all.
Oh, well.
Can we cover that in 2 minutes?
Sure, we can. That's just.
I think that's the metal roof.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I don't know much about it. You know
most
about it.
It's one of those things where we're always trying to help people out. Okay, and unfortunately, we've kind of gotten ourselves into a situation on some metal roof repairs where, because we did not install that roof, we don't really know how it was installed. We know where the water is showing itself up, but we don't necessarily know what all the issues are in that roof system.
Right.
Okay. And so we've got one that a fellow paid us a pretty good amount of money to solve a problem, and we did not solve the problem, so we're going back out but it's requiring
for a repair initially.
Yeah, exactly.
Very surgical.
So it's requiring us to have to do significantly more work than we would ever have contemplated in order to actually solve the man's problem.
And how is that?
Okay.
What did we see
Well,
that expanded things?
We didn't really know. We really didn't know what the underlayment or the structure underneath that metal roof was. Okay, and as it turned out, his metal roof was not on a solid wood deck, and his metal roof was not, dried in the way that we would dry a roof in with our peel and stick products that we use on our metal roofs. So the attachment was different than what we anticipated, and the dry-in or the waterproofing portion of the work that had been done was not anywhere near up to the standards to which we would have done it. So we ended up having to disassemble hips and ridges and different things to be able to make sure that we got the water from ever getting in underneath the panels, and then making their way down to this one little problem spot that we thought we were trying to take care of. So, you know, you just you take the good with the bad, and when we tell people we're going to take care of something, we're going to kill ourselves to try to take care of it. So,
and with that, we'll take our first break. We'll be back with Act 2 of today's show on McRoof Talks Insurance on KOKC AM 1520 FM 95.3. Our trivia question is still hanging out there. The number to call, 405-478-1520. We want to know about the spacing on nails on nailing a deck to a frame for fortified. We'll be right back.
If you don't have an advisor when it comes to your residential, commercial, or metal roofing, you may not have met one of McRoof's solution specialists yet. Our team is dedicated to thoroughly evaluating your needs and to developing effective and lasting solutions focused not only on financial cost, but also long-term goals for your home or building. Providing accurate in-person inspections, personal guidance with insurance, roofing, and design factors, and follow-up throughout the repair process, we seek to be your last stop for professional roofing and insurance restoration. McRoof is founded on quality, integrity, and lasting value. If these things appeal to you, give us a call today at 855-766-3405. McRoof.us. Every replacement done right.
McRoof Talks Insurance back on the air for Act 2 of today's show. Normally I only do American history when it comes to the trivia, but this one I just couldn't pass up. In the year 1487, now we talk a lot about building codes, government codes. In the year 1487 was the first German beer purity law. Enacted in Munich, Bavaria, stating that beer should be brewed from only 3 ingredients: water, malt, and hops. 1483, standardizing beer for the rest of the nation, rest of the world.
wow.
And then, getting back to stateside, 1782, Britain signed the agreement recognizing the U.S. independence. It took them a while.
I was going to say, it took them a while, didn't it?
And then on this date in 2004, a young woman named Kelly Clarkson released her second studio album. She ended up winning 2 Grammy Awards and became her best-selling album to date with over 12 million units. This is Breakaway by Kelly Clarkson. All right, so our trivia question still out there. Which of these is a requirement for the IBHS fortified roof deck to be fastened with regular 8D nails at 6-inch edges, 12-inch centers, regular 8D nails, 4-inch edge, 6-inch center, 8D ring shank nails at 4 and 6, and 8D ring shank nails at 4 and 4. If you think you know the answer, give us a call, 405-478-1520. The winner gets 2 free tickets to any Carpenter Square Theater show. And we have Deanne on the line right now. Hello, Deanne.
Hi, Deanne.
Hey, Deanne.
Let's hope so.
Deanne, I have never heard of that. I don't know why. I'm not sure what your age of your roof is relative to the property tax rates.
Oh, if it's this
Yeah.
Deanne, yes.
Oh
okay.
yeah, no, I knew who I was visiting with. I just don't know. I'll be happy to research that this weekend and have Wanda or I reach out to you on Monday and let you know if I can find anything that validates that. But I am not familiar with that. Rick, have you ever heard of anything like that?
No, but actually, it seems it would be just the opposite. That if you put a new roof on, now your house
They're
is
probably
more
going to raise.
valuable.
They're probably going to raise your taxes. That's what I would think.
That was my initial thought.
Right, right.
The class 4.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, of course, the discount from your insurance company, Wanda would have sent you a Class 4 certificate when we did your roof, and that should have gone directly to your insurance company, and you should have gotten, you actually would not only have gotten a discount, you would have gotten probably a check back in the mail for whatever prorated portion that you had already prepaid. Like if you had paid for a quarter or 6 months or a year in advance, they actually owe you money back on that, back to the date that we installed your roof. So, but let me look into this a little bit, and we'll reach back out to you and let you know what's going on.
I'm making a note for him, Deanne, so we don't let it slip off the radar. Of course, of course. Yep.
Thank you,
Well,
Deanne. Hey,
have
you
a
want
good
to
rest
take
of your weekend, and
do,
thanks
do
for
you
your
want to
question.
do you want to take a guess at our trivia question? I tell you what, just pick a letter, A, B, C, or D.
There we go, Rick.
She
What do
likes
you
C.
think, Dad?
Nah, we're not gonna let her get by. We're not gonna let her get by with that.
Well, good guess,
Yes,
Deanne.
Deanne.
You actually are right. It is. It is. I tell you what. We'll let her fly by on that. It is.
There you go.
Deanne, you're right. It is one of the right answers. It is. And Deanne's answer was 4 and 6 inch ring shank. Okay. And that was the answer for the standard that we are still operating under now.
Current.
The new standard for 2025 has already been published, and of course, McRoof will already go ahead and adopt that and be complying with the 2025 standard, but that standard will not be enforced until this time next year. So technically, Deanne is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
4 inch and 6 inch on your rafters. The new standard will be 4 and 4, which is exactly the same. What it does is it unifies inland, high wind and hail, and coastal hurricane standards to where it now will be one standard for both of the wind conditions. So, Deanne, you're absolutely correct, and way to go, girl.
I have a question about that. Thank you,
Now,
Deanne.
Deanne, stay on the line so Eric can get your email address, and I will send you those tickets to Carpenter Square Theater.
Thanks, Deanne.
Thank you, Deanne. What if somebody has installed a fortified roof system that is completely compliant with all of the requirements currently, but then next year when the standards change for either their specific region or like you said, standardized across different regions of wind, high wind zones, what happens to those people? Do they lose their home's fortified roof designation,
No.
or do they get grandfathered in under the current standards?
No, they if they are fortified under that standard, they are fortified, and the standard will apply only to the new designations.
I see.
Okay.
Got it. So
Now-
somebody who spends
now-
all the money doesn't.
Now, a question that I have in mind, and I don't know the answer to this, although I assume the answer to it, is your designations have to be renewed every 5 years. So if you were designated fortified roof
Yeah.
and the standard has changed, and you don't need a new roof, then there is no way to change that nailing pattern. Are you going to be able to renew your designation?
I doubt it.
I do not know the
That's a
answer
good
to
question,
that.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
do not know. I would assume they probably will. Okay.
I would hope so.
I would assume they probably will, but I do not know that that's the answer. So,
Interesting.
So, for the folks listening who may be hearing this term bandied about, fortified, for the first time, explain in very simple terms what that really means. Because when I went to that seminar, it was eye-opening to me that it was really such a simple addition to the replacement of a roof.
well, when we start, we're talking about fortified again. IBHS is a nonprofit organization. This is a voluntary program that consumers can opt into. Okay, that if they choose to build to fortified standards, and that's a fortified roof or a fortified commercial building or a fortified apartment, whatever, if they choose to build to fortified standards, that fortified will underwrite the information that is sent by the evaluator. I am an evaluator of the products that were used, how it was applied, everything that was done. Fortified will then look at all of that information and issue a designation for fortified that you as a consumer then take to your insurance company, insurance agent, and that should qualify you for the greatest degree of discounts that are available for your type of structure in your state.
And as I
Okay?
understand, of course, there are building codes, which, as you've said many times,
Building codes
is a
are
minimum.
minimum.
And what fortified is as you
Beyond.
beyond. It's code on steroids.
That's exact. Fortified is, and I tell people this all the time. I have people tell me, they'll make the comment, well, it was built to code. Well, I'm going to tell you that it probably wasn't. You may think it was built to code. You may have had an inspection. You may have passed a final inspection and been issued a certificate of occupancy. I don't care. It probably was not built to code. There are so many things that are missed in the interpretation, the application of the codes. Life safety, electricity, gas, things like that, probably built to code.
Okay,
Structure, I'm going to tell you,
probably not.
probably not built to code. Okay?
Foundations.
Built toward code,
Yeah.
kind of almost, but built to code, I'm going to tell you, no. So here's the deal. Who would want something that's built to the minimum standard anyway?
A lot of people.
Well,
yeah.
oh my gosh.
Well, and a couple weeks ago you did
It's
some
apparent.
simple math
Uh-huh.
of
We
what
did.
what is what the additional cost is when putting a new roof on
Right.
to achieve the fortified standard, and it was so insignificant compared to the overall cost.
So
I
let's.
think was it 15 to 18% somewhere in there.
It was. So let's look at what we're trying to do. Again, fortified is trying to build to a standard that will prevent preventable damage.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
things that we know are going to happen. We're going to have large hail. We're going to have hurricanes. We're going to have tornadoes. We're going to have large straight line winds. We can build structures. We can build roofs that can withstand most of those things that
Right,
happen.
right.
Okay, the vast majority of events.
Right. A direct hit by a tornado, that's a direct hit.
Yeah.
But the high winds that we get all the time,
Right.
even just on a regular day, we can get 50, 60 mile an hour winds.
And the large hail.
Yes.
When you start talking about F0, F1, probably F2 tornadoes, when you start talking about the huge hail, when you start talking about the 70, 80, 90 mile an hour straight line winds that we sometimes get,
Yeah.
we can build a roof, we can build a structure that is going to withstand almost every bit of that.
Yeah.
Okay. If you do lose the cladding, the covering on your roof, because this is built to the standards, the underlayment is going to stay in place.
Right.
If you lose underlayment, the deck is going to be taped and sealed.
Right.
Okay. The deck is not going to come off.
That's right.
All right.
Thanks to those
And
ring
And
shake
it's not going to
nails.
let water in either.
And when those things do not come off, then the damage that you're going to have on the inside, you may need a new roof.
Right.
Okay. You may need new gutters.
But you
But
won't
you're
need
not gonna
furniture.
Exactly. You're not going to be at risk of life and limb in these situations. So
Exactly.
So let's go up on the roof. And in this episode of Scotty's View from the Rooftop, the solutions team experiences a rush of customers filing insurance claims, and they're all in a hurry to get that roof ready for a special visitor.
Yes, that's right.
And this episode is titled "Procrastination is Plentiful."
That's right. That's right. And procrastination in this case does not pay. Some people say procrastination pays, and in some cases it does.
Well, I can tell you that sometimes procrastination is the only thing I find time to do.
That's right. That's right. Well, I can say that I resemble that remark myself. So this week was a very busy week for adjusters appointments, and the last couple weeks, well, the last week specifically, has been a time where we have had probably 5 to 7 people who have just been delaying making their insurance claims say, hey, I've got my adjuster coming out on this date, and we've got so many conflicts with adjusters appointments. It's just really a thankful thing that I'm not running all the appointments myself like I used to. Thank goodness for Johnny and for Kelvin as well. But all that just to say, they're getting ready for a special visitor that's probably not going to have a nice new roof to land on for these folks, because we're 8 weeks out doing roofs, so we're already into the new year. So these people think they're getting in line for Mr. Santa Claus, but they're actually not.
Well, you know what we ought to
They're
start
getting ready for him next year.
What we ought to start telling them, Scotty, is, we'd rather have those reindeer dancing all over your old roof than all over your new roof. Let's get those guys out of town, and then we'll worry about your new roof.
Yep.
So
I know you folks have said, back in the heat of the summer, it's better to do it in the fall, but now folks are waiting until the fall to tell you that they now want a roof instead of telling you, in July and August, hey, let's do this in October.
There's a lot of reasons for that. The ones that obviously the people who had the large hail in September,
right?
They were kind of we knew what situation they were going to be in working through the claims and getting everything ready to go. And then a few weeks later, the folks obviously with the tornadoes and the wind damage and things like that, the ones that are a little frustrating to us are the people that have known about this for
6 months.
6 months, or in some cases even a year.
Right. And they expect a roof this year.
That are now calling, and all of a sudden they're ready to go, and they think they think we just move them to the top of the list.
Yeah, can you guys be here Monday?
And let me just say this so everybody understands.
Most don't fall into that category.
Let me just say this so everybody understands. Here's how we prioritize. We start out with our existing universe, okay, with active leaks or with real estate sales. That's kind of number one on our list. And then new people coming in with active leaks are going to go up to the next category, okay? And quite honestly, those people who we've told forever that they needed to do something, not that we're rubbing their nose in it, but they don't get up there in that 1 or 1A position. They're down there in that 2, 3, 4 position where we are probably realistically a month out on being able to get somebody on a roof for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
But
So-
a lot of them understand that because they don't have leaks, and
Sure.
you know, they know if they developed a leak, they could call us and we'd take care of a
Yeah,
spot repair.
if people don't have leaks this time of year, they need to understand that we'll come out and get your inspection done. We'll get you ready to go, but it's certainly not going to happen over the next week or two. I think Carly's pretty good about telling people that she's 3, 4, 5 weeks out. So
Okay.
for routine things.
Yeah. I saw a sign one time, and then we're going to go to break. Failure to plan on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part.
Very good. Very good. That is very good.
And with that, we'll take our second break. We'll be back with Act 3 of today's show. McRoof Talks Insurance, live on KOKC, AM 1520, FM 95.3. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. He's Restoration Specialist and Hall of Fame Remodeler Scott McCollum. And the other one is HAAG-certified Roofing Inspector Scotty McCollum. Eric Yandell taking your calls. Last call for your call, 405-478-1520.
Hey folks, this is Scott McCollum, and we are Certainteed Kings. We believe in this company like no other. Certainteed, quality made certain, satisfaction guaranteed in the United States since 1904. McRoof does one thing better than anybody else in the marketplace. That is, we build Certainteed integrity roof systems. And now we build Certainteed integrity roof systems to fortified standards. That is Certainteed integrity on steroids. It's the best roof you can get. I guarantee you, you're not going to have blow-offs. You're not going to have damage to your shingles in large hail, high winds, EF0 tornadoes. This roof is going to perform for you and your family long term. If you ever lose a portion of your roof, the interior of your home is going to remain intact and protected from water. Give McRoof a call today at 855-766-3405. Call Carly, 855-766-3405 for an integrity roof system on steroids.
McRoof Talks Insurance, back on the air for Act 3 of today's live radio show. On this date in 1886, the first commercially successful AC electric power plant opened in Buffalo, New York. 1886. Wow. You know, Edison wanted everything to be DC.
Right.
And
right.
it was Tesla, Nikolai Tesla, who convinced him to make everything AC. Of course, Edison still got all the credit. On this date in 1924, the first photo facsimile was transmitted across the Atlantic from London to New York. We now call those a fax.
Fax.
Yeah. Photo facsimile.
These days, the kids don't know what that is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
1924. And then 4 years later, Vladimir Zworykin received a patent on the Iconoscope TV system. Now, Philo T. Farnsworth, as a young Kansas farm boy, saw waving wheat
Right.
and came up with the idea for
Right.
TV. But it was Zworykin who received the patent on this date in 1928. And then on this date in 1979, a British band called Pink Floyd released an album, sold 6 million copies in 2 weeks.
Wow.
The Wall. And coincidentally, this morning I'm driving behind a pickup truck that had a tag that said Pink Floyd. No vowels, but I understood.
funny.
I got the message. Pink Floyd, The Wall, on this date in
I used to
1979.
go around singing that song.
Okay, so we are, the lines are open. We're taking your calls, 405-478-1520. Give these guys a call, see what, answer that question about your roof and your homeowners or business insurance, and they can help you out.
Scotty, you got a deal over there about a leak-proof pipe flashing.
I do. You handed this over to me when you walked in.
I got to tell you, folks.
And my eyes lit up because I've looked through these photos and I haven't read the article yet.
Oh,
but
yeah,
this guy looks like.
I tell you, folks, one of the things, if the number one leak call we get, by far, pipe boots. Okay, the pipe boots are not high quality products necessarily. Nothing wrong with them. They just are what they are. But they have
a piece of metal and a piece of rubber.
They have a rubber neoprene boot that seals around the pipe, and that rubber UV affects the rubber,
Right.
freeze thaw affects the rubber. That rubber expands and contracts, and it splits, and the squirrels eat on it,
So
and
now-
all kinds of things happen. But
Now there's a
Scotty,
new improved pipe boot.
well, there have been new and improved pipe boots, but I think this is such a simple fix. It just is. Anyway, go ahead, Scotty.
Well, this is simply workmanship.
Absolutely.
This is not a
Not
proprietary
materials.
product.
This is
not
taking the 10 minutes extra that it will take you to do something we talk all the time about best practices.
Right.
Okay. This is a best practice that would take probably 5 to 10 minutes for a technician to properly execute, and I guarantee you'll never
5
have,
to 10 minutes on an average house with, who knows, 5 to 8 pipe boots.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
that's an extra hour.
Sure,
Right, an
sure,
extra
sure.
hour.
That's
So
an extra hour.
I'm-
That's something
I'm-
not a lot of contractors are going to go for.
I'm
Not a lot of
intrigued.
customers are going
I'm
to go
intrigued.
for.
Tell me about this.
Well, it simply looks like, in the way that the gentleman details his shingles adjacent to the pipe boot, how he flashes it with a certain type of flashing membrane.
Flashing tape. We've talked about
Yes.
taping the roof deck, that roof
Right,
deck and
right.
fortified being
I like
sealed.
using flashing membrane, but flashing tape, flashing membrane, it's synonymous. I don't know that he specifies a brand because it's a
But
high
there,
tack butyl based
but there are
adhesive.
ASTM standards
Yes,
for
there
all
are.
those types of tapes and
Okay.
products
Yeah, there
used
are.
on a roof that we have to comply with. So this would be a standard compliant.
Well, it's
tape.
funny that this doesn't, Dad. I'm looking at this as an opportunity to. This is to educate customers about why this is a better way instead of.
Oh my gosh.
Fortified doesn't even have anything that calls for a
Yeah,
flashing
this-
detail like this. This
again.
is above. So if we said certainteed and
then-
Sure Start Plus and their integrity roof system is heads above other manufacturers, and in a lot of cases building code, and Fortified
On
is
top of that.
integrity on steroids.
And then
And this is a detail that none of those 3 other standards or categories call for. This is we keep setting the bar higher and higher.
I gotta say this is sometimes I think that all these young people would just soon I would get out of the way, and I gotta pat myself on the back and say this is the value of me, because I read and read and read, and I see something that looks like that it could be solving a problem or notching up a best practice to a degree that no one's ever really gone.
Right.
And I go and look at it and
Sure.
try to see where the applications are where we can, number one, eliminate problems for ourselves. I mean, I'm going to say, hey, I'm doing it because I don't want one of our clients to have a problem. Hey, that is true. I
Right.
don't. But I really don't want to have a problem that I have to go back out and deal with.
Exactly.
Okay? It's time, it's money, it's effort, and when it can be prevented and be avoided, let's prevent it and avoid it by utilizing these best practices. And this is a simple thing that we're going to be implementing into our processes. So it starts on Monday with our crews being exposed to this, okay, and being taught. And it's going to start with Scotty being on a roof, making sure it's done exactly the way we want it, and Sean being on a roof to make sure it's done exactly the way we want it. And then all of our repairs will be done in this method going forward. Whenever we replace a pipe boot, will be done this way. And 6 or 8 months from now, we'll be getting tons and tons and tons of calls, but they will not be from our clients. Okay, and that's the beauty of it. So,
Well,
yeah,
good
this
dang
is
deal.
This is a beautiful detail.
I am impressed
A
with
lot of people, they don't think anything could be beautiful on a roof, but the
Oh,
beauty, to us, yes,
Yeah.
it can be beautiful, and when you see the
Well,
things that go on before the cladding or the roof covering goes on,
Yeah.
the beauty is in the function.
and let's talk about beauty some more, Mr. Rick.
Okay.
I've had occasion to be on your roof in
Yes.
the last month or so.
Uh-huh.
And how old is this roof?
Oh gosh, 5, 6 years, something like that.
I bet it's more. Anyway, something like that. So I'm gonna say a couple things. One, it is beautiful.
It is.
It is amazing the condition of that roof. Now, knowing that right around the corner from you, we've replaced some very, very, very expensive, high dollar, luxury impact type shingles since we did your roof.
And I've done some quick math, more like 7, 8
That's what I was
years.
going to say, 7 to 8. Well, I was looking for that leak. I couldn't find anything.
Right.
Okay, that would have led me to. Okay.
We
We're determined it has carpentry thing.
But we have we have a hole where the critters have eaten.
But on your roof, that metal roof, the shingle part of your roof, I found one spot that actually I thought might have been a hail hit. One. On the mod bit roof, the Certainty Flint Lastic roof, there is no evidence of hail anywhere on it.
Yeah.
I will say this, and hopefully I don't get me or you in trouble, but I looked at the pictures of the copper that used to be on your roof.
Right.
From 10 years ago.
Right.
And I looked at my pictures that I took the other day of the 24 gauge steel.
Yeah.
Not one impact in the steel, and the copper would have looked just like it looked
Hammered.
10 years ago.
Yeah,
So anyway,
yeah.
so from a functional standpoint, there's that one little ripple, and I haven't figured out exactly what I want to do. I might want to come and actually slice that after the spring. I might want to actually slice that and put a piece on top of it.
Okay.
I'm not sure why there's that one. I suppose
Framing
it's,
deflection?
No, I think it's, well, it is. It is because you've got your carport area.
Yeah.
And you've got your nanny house.
Yeah.
Separate from the main structure.
Right.
So I guarantee you he's right. There is movement in there.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but I just wanted to tell you.
Enough about a
But
roof
you talk about
nobody's gonna
roof being
see.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Roofs can
it's-
be beautiful
yeah.
in their function too.
Right. Well, and that was the main reason why we chose that roof, for its durability and its beauty. And it is a Certainty roof. We need to move on to the storm tip. Now, whether this is after the storm or before the storm.
We're going to call this one before the storm.
Before the storm, because we have some more storms coming.
Well, because we have winter coming.
Well, winter is coming.
And it's coming whether we want it to or not. And they're saying that after the first year, we may have a doozy. So here you go.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
9-step home inspection before winter. Okay, Scotty, I'm going to give this to you because this is what you guys will be following. Well, we do it
Okay.
already.
All right.
Inspect for loose or missing shingles.
Okay.
Clean and clear the gutters. Scotty, be sure everybody gets a thing of contractor bags in their truck.
Okay.
To where they can clean the gutters, and a good pair of gloves to where they
Oh,
clean
yeah.
and we don't throw it on the ground. We clean it up as we do it. Examine the roof valleys.
The
And when
valleys
we
are.
talk about the valleys, we want to get all the organic material
Yeah.
out of the valleys. Check for attic ventilation. Attic ventilation, Scotty, in the wintertime? Come
Yep.
on,
Very
what are we
important.
talking about?
And it's important
Ever
12
heard
months
about
a year.
condensation?
Rick's up there covering up those, putting those garbage bags on those turbines.
I used to. My daddy used to have me do that. In fact, he would have me do it on Thanksgiving.
Yep,
and
and,
then
take them off on Easter.
Take them off on Easter.
Folks, please, if you have turbines on your roof, the whirly-bird vents, please do not put a garbage
Leave them
bag.
alone.
Do not put a garbage bag over those. The moisture in the wintertime can be very, very destructive in your decking and your framing and your soffits, okay? Next, inspect the chimney. When we're inspecting a chimney, primarily we're looking at all the flashing details, but we're also looking at the mortar details or the framing details in your chimney itself, and we're looking at what we call the crown on top of the chimney, because that can be a source of water and problems for you as well. So check for leaks inside the home. A lot of times people will tell us we don't have any. Well, can we just walk through, because a lot of times our eyes are kind of trained to look for that. Maybe it's not wet now, but it was wet, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
We can kind of see that, and that gives us some places to go and look. So, and the last thing, and obviously you know this, schedule your professional roof inspection. Don't just let a roofing salesman get on your roof and tell you you're in good shape, or tell you worse than that you need to file an insurance claim. Get a qualified inspector, someone who is a licensed property adjuster who knows roof damage, storm damage, a qualified HAAG inspector who has commercial, residential, or wind credentials. I happen to have all three of those if you want all three of them. Or somebody like Scotty that is just a goat on the roof. And that's not the greatest of all time.
Nope.
That's just, he is a goat climbing a big, ugly, steep roof. And he's going to get to all the places that most people who would be doing an inspection for you will never go.
Oh,
okay?
my.
They will do a cursory review of the areas that are easy for them to move around the roof on. They will not see all the things that Scotty will see on that roof.
If
So-
you want to call us just for the show of seeing me in action, you can.
There you go. So call Roof RX 405-877-7663. That's Carly at 405-877-7663. If this is a seasonal inspection, anticipate that we would probably get to you
In a few weeks.
around Christmas, or maybe right after the first of the new year. If you have issues or problems that you're already aware of but don't know why you have those, we'll get you on the list and get to you as soon as we can.
This Before the Storm tip brought to you by Roof RX, the prescription for your ailing roof.
Yep.
All right, now I have to tell you one more time that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 8000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing. All right, so today, National Personal Space Day.
Get away from me.
Give me my space, man. It's also National Mississippi Day. I forget what order they were coming into the Union. Mason Jar Day, Moose Day, but most importantly, it's Small Business Saturday.
There you go.
Patronize the small businesses
That
in your
means don't
community.
be using any of those out-of-town roofers.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, Scott, Dad's wisdom.
Scotty.
A job well done is its own reward.
There you go. This has been episode number 43 of McRoof Talks Insurance on KOKC AM 1520, FM 95.3. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. Thank you to Eric Yandell. Thank you to young Scotty McCollum. Thank you to Mr. Scott McCollum.
You're welcome.
Thank
Everybody
you, Eric, and thank you, Rick.
Yep.
And thank you all for listening.
Have a great
Weekend.
weekend.
We'll see you next week.